Welcome to another episode of May the Codes Be With You. Today we are going to continue the series that we started in the previous episode that relates to web development. So we discussed a few tags that are frequently used in HTML. We are going to continue that since we were not able to discuss all the tags in the previous video. We will be finishing that today. So let's get started. So this is the same HTML file which we were using before. It was called index.html. Now to start with, there's another thing called, like we have seen, we can create a submit button using the input tag. We can also have a button using the button tag, right? And I'll just right click me inside of it, and I'm already live. So yeah, you can see there is a click me button which leads us to nowhere since we haven't provided with a link. This button tag is generally used with JavaScript, and we can put an action or a method to access this button and then provide a particular way forward for this button. So this was something that we missed in the previous class. So yeah, I just wanted to put it forward so that you know that a thing like this exists. Now we've done this image tag in the previous video. Since you can see it is a self-closing tag, it doesn't require a closing /img, so it doesn't take that because it doesn't exist. Now what I wanted to do was, if for example your image was unable to load, so what we do is we provide an alternative, which is a text that this gets displayed when the image is unavailable. So it is basically the tag that is going to tell us that there was an image which said my sample image, but we are unable to load that, so it displays an alternative text. You won't be able to see since it is able to fetch an image. Now for example, I change it to something else, and now we check, so it will say my sample image as text, right? That was something that I wanted to discuss. Now for example, if you want your image to become an hyperlink, so what we do is we wrap this image inside a anchor, so and give the name as sample.jpg, and we close the anchor after remove it from here and provide indentation to this image tag so that we know that it is nested inside this anchor tag. Now what happens is, when you hover over it, you can see that there is a finger pointer that is saying that it is clickable and it has a hyperlink attached to it. So when I click on this particular image, it will open the same image in a full view mode like this. You might have seen these kind of things in Google Images. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that. Right. So these were some of the basic tags. Now I will be discussing something which is very important, and you might have seen this a lot. This is called iframe. Iframe is basically providing you a frame inside your web page. Like you may consider this as a frame, and there is a video embedded inside it, or Google Maps embedded inside it. So you must have seen websites which have videos and maps embedded inside their web pages. So what they do is they use iframes for that. I will show you how it works. Okay, so I'll just start. The steps are pretty much the same. I'll give the title as iframe demonstration. Inside the body diagram, now for example, I give the heading as iframes. H2 This is sort of a revision for everything that we did in the previous video. Hmm, okay, so you must be knowing that we can add any hyperlink to the href part of anchor tag. Now what we can do is we can also connect it to any file inside this particular folder that we have created, web dev.js. So for example, if I have some file inside lecture 1 and I am working on lecture 2 and I want to access this file uh, using our code, so what I do is dot slash means the main folder that we are in, that is that, and then l01 slash index.html. Okay, I close this here. I close the anchor tag. Before closing the anchor tag, I'll just name it something. Now I want another name. I'll just add two links and might as well name this the same file, so when I click on it the same file opens. Okay, so that was our unordered list. Now we will create an iframe. ID is, I am not sure if it is called ID. I guess it's called name. Yeah, it's called name. I'll talk about this later. Width 400 pixels. Height also 400 pixels. We'll make it a square box. SRC. We will give this. Oh wait. No, we'll give this. Let's check if this is working. Oh, I miss. So as this was something I wanted to talk to you about. So whenever we are trying to open some website inside of iframe, some websites have some restrictions to them. That is, they cannot be opened on inside the iframe. So there's a thing called target. I don't know, it's not taking target. There's one called self, in which it opens inside the iframe itself. Target attribute. So one is called self, one is called blank. These are the two things that are used mostly. Self is when the new page is opened inside the iframe itself, and blank is when we click on it, it opens in another tab. So when we are accessing a file which is outside the folder you're working in, so you have to place two dots. That is, one dot is to go back and another is to go back again. So yeah. So now what happens is, since we have given iframe a name called frame1, what we can do is we can set a target over here, which and in which we will write frame1. So what will happen is that when we click on it, this particular website, the target that we have set, the link that we have given to it, like index.html, will open inside this iframe. So you can embed anything you want inside this particular iframe. Now, for example, some websites which are not permitted to be opened inside this iframe, we need to clear this up, that we specify underscore self, or maybe blank. Blank will open it on a different web page. So it will open it on a different web page. Now, if for example I set it to underscore self, what will happen is that when I click this link, this page will reload itself and the same thing will open on this page. See, so no new uh, tab open for this particular link, right? So this was about iframes. There are two more type of targets. One is called parent and one is called top. For example, if you consider, there are nested iframes. Within iframe there is another iframe. So when we give the innermost iframe the values as top, so what it would do is it would open the link in the main iframe box, right? That is top. And if we say underscore parent, so what it would do is that if this is the iframe, it would open the page on this particular page itself. So this is parent, this is top. I've already talked about self and I've already talked about blank. So that was all about iframes. Now what we would be discussing is called the semantic tags for HTML5. So these were some of the additions to HTML5. These are mostly used inside the body tag itself. The header tag is basically used to add your logos and everything, and a slight information about your company. Footer is used to add copyrights and when it was developed and by whom it was developed. Aside is used to provide you with categories. You might have seen there is a left column. I'll just show it to you. So this is kind of an aside. This is also an aside. A main is basically used to add information regarding your websites. Article is, for example, you must have seen blogs, and blogs have a lot of, you know, some articles inside it. So this article tag is used for that. Nav is basically the navigation bar like this inside your website. You can use CSS to make it look like this or even look like this if you want. Then section tag basically provides you with the area inside your uh, main body wherein you add your articles, so that you have division inside your body structure so that you can access only a particular part of that page. We can provide ID to it, and when we click on that it will lead to that specific section only. Details is not used much, but it is about adding a few more extra information that we need to provide inside a web page. So before we move into that, I wanted to discuss a few more things that would make your page look much better. So there are a few things called quotations, and if you have took your text from some other place, you need to cite that text. So I will just talk about that now. It's called block quote. So there's a block quote inside your HTML, I'll just copy some text. There's a website called Lipsum Generator. You can generate as much text as you want. I just need a small piece of information. I just place it inside this block code. Now what would happen is that it would provide us padding from the left hand side, uh, denoting that this was the text that was taken from somewhere else. And let me show it to you. So yeah, you can see that there is some padding and other text is starting from the left hand side, but there is some padding provided here. So yeah, I just add an h6. This was a text copied from somewhere else. So you see, this started from the left hand corner, but the copied text that we just made had some padding on the left hand side. So that is about block quote. And there's one more thing called site. Inside of block quote, we can add from where we copied it. So for example, I copied it from, for example, it won't be visible over here from where you copied it. However, when you inspect, see, you can find it over here that this text was taken from somewhere else, and then you see that it appears inside quotation marks. So that was about it. The next thing that is there is called abbreviations. For example, if you have some kind of an abbreviation inside your text, for example, I'll make a text, and the is awesome. So I just need to provide information what this www means, triple W's, and that we all know it's World Wide Web, but some people might not. So there's a tag called ABBR, and I provided a title to it, World Wide Web, right? And oh, so I wrapped this www inside the ABBR HTML tag, and what it would do is that we get a small underline feature where when I hover over it, it would say World Wide Web. Now, as we have used site in this block code, there is a separate site tag as well. HTML for beginners. HTML to begin with. If I want this to come inside and by may the codes be with you. So what would happen is that we get this in italics. That is the main reason for using site. So these are some things that I wanted to talk about that we left in the previous video. Now as we have discussed the semantic tags, we are going to develop a small blog kind of a thing using these tags. So let's get started. What I'll do is that I'll create a new file and I'll name it blog.html. Same thing as before, we take this, my blog, I must remind you that this wouldn't look very pretty since we are not using CSS right now. That is something we will discuss in the future. So the first thing we do is called header. Since we might have more than one header, we can provide an ID to it. Yeah, we can do that. I guess we'll do that in the end. Yeah, I should do it right now. ID is equals to main hyphen header, and inside this header I'll write my h1, my blog, and then we close this header. Now the next thing to add is called section. Inside a section we'll add articles h3 blog post 1. Then if I want to specify that it was posted by somebody, then posted by Akshay, for example, on July 10th. Article close, section close. So you can see this is my blog posted by Akshay on July 10th. Now if for example I need to add some text inside of it, what I'll do is that after this small I can add a p tag and paste. So I have a text with me here. Now what I want to do is that I'll just create one more article similar to this. Why not two more? So we've got three blogs, blog 2, blog 3, and if I want to add a HTML link below it specifying that there is more to this text, so what I do is I create a ahref post.html, for example. There's no such page like that. Read more dot dot dot, and just copy this. So there is a link like this below our main content. Now after this section has closed, we will use the aside, I'll name it as categories, on our list, and add a few links to it. I don't have any extra web pages made, so what I do is I give a hash. It specifies that there's a number, but if there is not, it will open the same page that we are on currently. Category 1. I'll copy this, paste 2, 3. So you see there's this aside column here. Now, however, we can use CSS to drag it onto one side like here, or we can even make a nav out of this. So to make a navigation bar out of this, what we simply have to do is that we write nav and close it after and tab. So it becomes a navigation bar as well. Now the next thing that we had to do was add a footer. So after the aside, we add a footer. In that, I add a paragraph tag, copyright, and to insert the copyright symbol, we need to write ampersand copy semicolon 2020 my blog. So you can see it appears over here. In order to beautify this a little, what I'll do is, and they can be multiple footers as well. So what I'll do is I can give this ID just like I did here, main header. I'll give it a ID main footer. In order to beautify this a little, I will be talking about small things that we can use inside of CSS and that we do inside the head tag that we have in our HTML, right? So there's a tag called style. We use that. Type as text slash CSS. That means the style sheet that I'm attaching is of CSS style. Now once that is done, I press enter. Now since I have given ID over there, to find an ID and style it, we need to write hash main header. So this was the ID main header. Text align as center, background color as, I'll choose black, color is going to be, I'll choose white. So color is for text, background color is for the background, and padding as 10 pixels. So it would give us padding on all sides as 10 pixels. Right. This was our header. Now I will do the same thing for our footer as well. Text align as center and font size is 18 pixels. So you can choose font family as well. You can change everything using CSS. So this is the basic CSS that I wanted to show you. So yeah, this is how we give style to our particular page. So yeah, our background color just changed to black. Our text is in the center. It is white in color. Our copyrights, the footer part is in the middle. It has increased its size to 18 pixels, and see, as you can see, there's padding of 10 pixels. So yeah, that was about all of HTML that is mostly used inside when we are developing a website. I hope you like this video. Please share, subscribe, like, and comment if you have any doubts. We will be posting more content soon. Next time we will be talking about CSS and JavaScript. Thanks for watching this video.